I got a new order from Deco Art, so I got some new stencils and I got the complete line of the Dazzling Metallics and some more of the, I saw on Pinterest, a burlap with a white paint on it. And I thought I'd try to create that, making a faux burlap. So I'm starting with white and I'm going to let the first layer dry. So I'm going to work on 3 plates at one time, just to speed up the process a little bit. And I'm just using white Americana craft paint. And I'm using a mask because I want to leave the white behind. So I'm just going to use some scrap paper and remove that white around the background. And it's just ugly scrapbook paper that I'm going to use in another project. And I'm going to let this dry. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to use the Dazzling Mechanics in Americana. This is a dark brown. And then I'm going to use, this is a gift card that's been cut with some decorative scissors. But I didn't really like the way it worked, so I used a little comb from Deco Arts that I got that's a clear plastic. And I'm just dragging it vertical and horizontal just to leave some light traces of lines. And you can sort of see and then I'm doing the same thing with the espresso, just a little bit lighter, and a mink. I'm really trying to put a thin layer on these. By the time I remove most of the paint's getting removed. And it's just leaving little streaks. I think this would work really well with the golden open acrylics also. And so I'm going to do a card on one, so I'm using a card protector. So I'm just using buttermilk, little oyster pearl, and a little bit of raw sienna, I think, in the end. Trying to get a burlap color, and this one's a little bit darker. So on the next one I just used the buttermilk and the raw sienna and a little bit of the oyster pearl, and I like that a lot better color wise. I think I've got too much paint for a cleanup layer, so I'm just putting some on the third. And I will tell you that next time I wouldn't probably try to pull all 3 cleanup prints at the same time. And I'm just sort of trying to massage them. But I can tell right away that I didn't think I was going to get a very good pickup. That I think I waited too long and that the paint was too dry when I set the paper down. That I should have done each one individually. This first one, most of it came up. It's got a real grunge look, and I put it on a, and I like it. I'll definitely use it. On the card, you'll see that most of it pulled up, but the white wasn't very dark. I really like the texture in the background that you can see. And I may go in and do some pen work with the stencil branches. This is the one that gave me the most problem, and I can tell just on the edges. So I try sticking some more paint in there and trying to pull that up. Then I can just tell that I'm not going to get a good cleanup print. Too much of it just stuck to the plate. But you can see here in the middle where it did work that it kind of, I do like the results. And I even try to pick up this, and I got a little more off the plate and kind of grunged up the back of this print. But it really was stuck to the plate. And I had to clean the plates off, and I'm going to try again. This time I'm going to use the Deco Arts mixed media line, and thinking the metallics might have been the problem. So I'm just going to lay out sort of the same basic ideas and remove the white. And I'm going to try the thinner paper. The matte paper is a little thinner. And I'm going to try some black to see if that makes a difference. I have to say I really like this little print that I pulled with the black and the white. And I'll cut that out and use that somewhere. And then I'm going to try the black again and get a little bit heavier application of the black with the cherry blossom. And I'm just putting that back on the glass that once I dried it. Alright, so I'm going to just use 2 colors of brown and drag with the comb again. This dried pretty quick, so I'm not sure I removed as much as I really wanted to. But it's fairly translucent. You could probably put a little glaze and add the paint to the glaze. And this time I decided to use the raw sienna. And I'm going to let those dry, and then I'm going to come up and do the cleanup prints again. And I'm going to use 3 different types of paper. So I'm just using the Titan Buff and the raw sienna in the mixed media line. And I'm going to get that paper on there pretty quickly, so it's, and then set those aside to sit. And then I just used the Titan Buff on this last one, and the cardstock was a caramel color. And I got a pretty good pull on this one. And I think it does sort of, when you look close up, does have a little bit of burlap. Could have been lighter. I think I like the raw sienna and the white, or the Titan Buff, as the burlap. This one, the black did not show up at all. It does look like a really cool texture, and I'll probably add something on top of that and still use that little circle. And the black didn't show up here either. And again, really what I just got was a real cool background. And I'll probably stencil something on top of that or add a layer on top of those. And I really think that the problem on the first ones was that I didn't get my paper down and the paint dried too quickly. The paint is a lot, it's coming off, so the layers were a lot thicker with the metallics. And it may be that if you used a glaze or an open acrylic and you got the translucency with less paint,